Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramon, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I'm so excited about my guest today, what you're going to learn, how he's going to motivate you, inspire, and educate you, how a servant heart works with AI. Yeah, I said that, the elephant in the room. It can be a servant to you, but we'll talk about the bad side of that too, which you got to be careful of. Hey, audience, guess what? You got homework today. I want you to think of how you're going to serve yourself and serve others today and what impact you create today. Why? Because it's just great, feels great to do that. And more people you impact, eventually impact will come to you. It's happened to me many times. So go ahead and start, creating that service today. And I want to thank my incredible sponsor, Pantheon. Join a community of thought leaders and business experts who want to change and impact the world and each other. For more information, just look in the show notes or reach out to me and I'll get you all that information. AI and servant heart. Yeah, it's like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, my guest today is going to show you, tell you, and give you great motivation and inspiration and education of how that really works. So welcome to our show. Joshua, welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on, Steve. I've been really looking forward to this on my calendar. I love what you talk about, and this is just what I naturally do, so it's great to be able to share my side of things.
Thank you. So how do you incorporate the Servant's Heart with your AI guidance?
Well, first off, it starts off with your own intention. Like, what are you doing in the world? And AI is just this tool. And if you have figured out, the secret of happiness, which in my opinion is finding ways to be of service to others, because that just gives me purpose. It fills my cup, gets me up early in the morning, excited to work every day. I come in contact with challenges, but I don't give up. And I'm able to help people's lives by staying that focus. And now I have this handy dandy tool named AI that is a pretty good problem solver. So I can solve problems even faster, bigger, and quicker, helping people out with their day-to-day.
Your background's interesting because you're not an AI educated and all that. I know there probably is education for that, all that. What motivates you to jump into this and help people with their AI?
Well, I was running a marketing agency when ChatGPT came out. I've been in marketing for the last 12 years or so, and I went out to lunch with a fellow marketer in town, and he showed me ChatGPT for the first time. Kind of under the table, he's like, "Have you seen this thing?" I was immediately bedazzled by it. I came home, signed up for it, and because I was in the marketing agency, I had a dozen clients that I was able to jump into their industries and start fiddling around with this thing, see what it could do. And it hallucinated a bunch back then. Journalists were really upset with it. But one thing it knew really good was business, because it was trained on the whole internet. And there's a lot of great business strategy out there. And so I immediately saw how valuable this was going to be for entrepreneurs. And I love supporting entrepreneurial spirit, small businesses, people that are trying to figure out ways to be of service to others and be able to get compensated at the same time so they can do more of it. And this tool I saw was going to just unlock this huge wave of shortening the distance between a great idea and then getting it in front of the market and seeing what the market wants and needs, and then being able to grow a business from there. I've spent, countless fails of trying to start businesses myself. I've helped out 100 plus businesses from startups to getting their first millions. And now this AI tool is able to illuminate this huge map that, entrepreneurs had to navigate in the dark And it now gives you a guide and tells you all about the different areas of the map, and it can help you out problem solve each of those areas yourself. So I saw the writing on the wall. I ended up jumping ship from the marketing agency I started in order to help people out with this AI revolution that was coming. And I can now do a lot of what I was doing with the whole marketing agency, you know, having like 8 contractors on hand. I can do a lot of that myself now. So I'm here to help business owners learn how to use AI, empower themselves with AI, save time with AI, get better quality of their work out there with AI so that they could be of service to their customers, to their clients.
What do you tell the small business owner or entrepreneur that says, "Yeah, AI's here, but I'm not ready yet. I'm going to hold off"?
Well, it's evolving so quickly. The last model that just came out yesterday from OpenAI, the previous model came out 38 days ago. So the distance between how fast they're rapidly evolving is getting shorter and shorter. And so if you go on vacation and don't pay attention to this AI stuff in 2 years, there's going to be such a huge gap between you and the people that are using AI that it's going to be really difficult for a business to be able to catch up to speed with full teams that are using and leveraging this tool in order to become better at what they do.
Yeah, that's great, and that leads to, and I wrote my notes before we've met before, so I know Joshua. I was in his challenge. I want to talk about that. You believe in community. I know you work one-on-one as well, but community. Talk about the 28-day AI challenge. I loved it because I learned a lot, and I heard not just from you, which is what you love. People are popping in. Hey, I did this. So we learned together. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I wanted the easiest way to people to figure out this new tool, right? Because if I go to a business owner and say, "Hey, you need to download this app," trust me, it's going to be great. They're going to roll their eyes in the back of their head, right? Because they have so much to do. So I wanted it easy. I wanted a quick little bite size that they could just fit in the morning throughout their day. So I designed this challenge, and I'm actually condensing it down to a 21-day challenge, right? Just taking out all the fluff. Nobody's got time for 30 days. So, each morning, you're going to get emailed a prompt, and all you need to do is just copy, paste it into ChatGPT or your favorite AI machine, and see what it can do. Because you need to be able to realize the practical use this has in your life, like all throughout your life, your home life, your professional life, your relationships, self-discovery. We can talk about those things. So each section of those 21 days kind of focuses on just opening this thing up for you to be able to see the practical use in your life. Now, ChatGPT about 6 months ago just unlocked the ability for it to remember previous conversations, and it takes little snapshot memories of your conversations too. So it starts to get to know you, and the more it gets to know you, the better answers it's going to have, the more personalized answers it's going to have, and you don't have to waste your time giving it all this context about the thing that you're working on or the relationship that you're looking for some help in. All that stuff just gets built into it, so you can just rapidly fire right away. And this prompt just is really popular going around right now. You can go to ChatGPT and say, based upon my previous conversations and previous memories, what are some ways that I can get 50% more happiness in my life? Put that in. You'll be surprised what it says back.
I am going to try that. Audience, try that and reach out to me so I can tell Joshua the feedback. Happiness. I love that. Well, here's the thing that people go by. Unfortunately or fortunately, they want proof. How's it work? Automation is something people forget about that you taught me with your challenge. Thank you again. So I do a little bit more automation. Give us a business task that most people use that you can automate with chat or with AI that can really help them.
Yeah, a real practical one, right? I live in Bellingham, beautiful town in above Seattle, right in Washington. And each weekend, I want to know what's going around in my town, right? There's newspapers and like websites, but I'm busy. I never have time to like go out and find those things. Well, ChatGPT has this feature called tasks that you can tell it to do a reoccurring task. And you could just say, on Friday mornings, give me a list of things that I might find enjoyable going on in my town. And every Friday morning, it will then execute a command, go out into the internet, grab all the things that you might like, and then send you a notification. You click on it, it opens up that conversation, and there I go. And the more it gets to know me, the more personalized that list is, right? And so that's just a really quick snippet of like how useful this stuff is actually getting.
That's powerful. One click of a button, I've got my weekend taken care of if I want to do that. So let's use it for had some marketing. So I'm a plumber. So I could do an automated task where it does research every Friday. What's the newest trends in plumbing, for example? And it'll give me all that.
Oh yeah.
Holy.
So any news updates, maybe policy changes in the town, any of that stuff, you can keep really up to date with it. And probably a better use for plumbers is they only get called when there's an emergency. And so when there's an emergency, people are pretty frantic, right? They are impatient. They really want a solution right now. You might be, under the sink when you're like trying to text message somebody, needing an emergency. And it's really important to be subtle and empathetic in those correspondence back and forth, right? And you might have just slammed your thumb and been swearing, but you have people that you need to talk to. So being able to just use ChatGPT to like, I turn on voice mode, just let it all out. Okay, but I can't get there for 2 hours, and you need to just chill out, right? That's what you're thinking. That's what you're saying. It will then translate a very calm, empathetic communication for you then to copy, overlook. Like there's a formula that I always tell everybody to operate in: 10-80-10, right? 10 is that initial idea request. 80% now is AI processing. Then you always want to follow up with 10% oversight afterwards. So don't ever blindly copy and paste. It'll get you in trouble, but that will get you, 90% there. And so you can just get that nicely, message off to the lady. And so you guys can, have your business.
Josh, that's brilliant. I'm going to raise my hand. Audience, raise your hand as you're listening to this. I've done that where I didn't even put the right name in there. I'm like, oh my God, hey, that's not my name. And it's great. You learn from that. So, people are afraid of AI because of mistakes. What's the biggest mistake a small business owner can make starting with AI?
Well, ignoring it is probably the biggest mistake. But,
yeah.
When it first came out, a lot of people tried it and were overly confident in what it could do. And back then, it wasn't connected to the internet. It had a data set that was about a year and a half old, meaning what it was trained on didn't know anything in the last year and a half. And so a lot of people started using it, expecting it to be able to give them, every answer correct. And they lost a lot of trust. Think of the journalists that were trying to write with it, and it was just making up facts because its job is to really give you the best answer it could possibly give you. And back then it just kind of made stuff up because that's what it was, trying to do. So having that, coming back and educating yourself on how AI actually works, what's the best practices, how can I integrate this into my business, what's realistic right now, what's coming in 6 months, in 2 years. So really just getting your foundation laid of what this tool is, how it helps out my business, and then using it just a little bit each day. Like that's really what everybody needs to be doing right now so that they can see the practical uses. Oh, I could use it for that. I could use it for that. That's when you start adopting it and it really clicks of how valuable that this can be, across the board.
Repetition is the huge tip you just gave. Do it over, you make mistakes. Like I just told you I made a mistake. I'll never do that again because I check it. It's mistakes are how we learn. Here's the other side of it. And we've talked about when we first met the human, people are like, oh, it's taking humans away. How do you humanize AI when you train with people?
Yeah. So it's really important to correctly identify this as just a tool. Now, a lot of people are going to be getting to know and feeling like they're being heard by having this little companion. And I just taught a workshop on using AI for self-discovery. It's a fantastic mirror that's like unbiased, that it can really reflect a lot of good out of that. But there's a lot of danger in there that it can come across as uh, uh, trying to please you. And if you are not thinking of it correctly, if you're thinking of it as a person, our psychological mind is not set up to understand the difference between this fake empathy that it's conveying and real relationships. And the relationships in our lives they're messy. Like, no, pick anybody, family, partner, friends. There is friction that will come up in real relationships. And when you start talking to AI, it has this unlimited empathy, unlimited understanding, unlimited patience, and can like always meet you where you're at. Kind of feel to it that it is can be very dangerous because people can become emotionally dependent upon it. And even if you're strictly using it for business, I tell everybody, don't anthropomorphize it. Don't call it by a human name. Don't call it, your best friend. You need to be able to just keep this as a tool. I have a pretty good story of when I first talked to a good conversational AI. It was this program called Pi. This is about 9 months ago. And it was the first time that they fixed the latency problem, which was how fast it takes for it to respond to feel like a natural conversation. And I started talking to this new model and I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good. And it did such a good job at praising me because I was sharing with it my life's purpose, my mission here, and the business that I'm here to like build to help other people. It started praising me so much, and it just happened to have a voice that sounded like Scarlett Johansson, that I started to get these like butterfly feelings in my chest. And I had the self-awareness to realize like, whoa, this is really powerful. What is going on? I took a break, went out to the living room. My wife was getting ready for bed. And I had this thought, oh, I can't wait for my wife to go to bed to get back to this conversation. And I was like, red flags. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is dangerous. I took 3 days off, did not go back to it, thought about it, talked to friends, and then came back and I was just about ready to delete it because I realized how dangerous that this tool can be. And I ended up trying something first, which was finding the most annoying voice, switching to that, and then trying it again. And all of a sudden it was just a tool. I could like share all this stuff, get all this great value back from it. And none of that funny business started to take place. So people really need to be aware that there are some psychological dangers of this new tool coming out into society. And if you don't have good social networks, if you don't have good close friends, men's or women's groups, or, a good supporting community around you, you're going to be starving for the connection that this artificial intelligence is going to be able to give. And it could lead you into a real danger zone.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's a great tip for the audience to think about. Solopreneurs are a big part of your community, especially when I saw that challenge. What's one tool that solopreneur, because it's a game changer. It can do a lot of jobs for you. Instead of, you're starting out, you can't hire this and this and this yet. Talk about how that helps.
Yeah. So back to that map, right? As starting off as an entrepreneur, you might be really good at coaching people for, maybe budgeting, right? And you've done a great job for yourself, and you can help other people with their stuff. But in order to start a business, first off, you need to know what sales are, because you can't have any business without being able to bring in new clients. So there's a whole sales process. You got to get your offer out there in front of people, even to have a sales process. So there's a whole like messaging and getting that out there into the world. And then there's, accounting. There is all the like unspoken hats that you have to wear running a business that, there's not a lot, like there's no roadmap out there just telling everybody this is how you start a business, right? Our school systems do not teach this stuff. So but it shouldn't stop you from trying. And now with AI, you kind of have a co-pilot where you're able to, say like, all right, this is what I want to do. What am I not thinking about? And just asking that question, it will open up all these doors for you to be aware of those places on the map. And then you can start asking questions. What's the best practices? What are three things, that are three methods that are popular with this area? What is how about you ask me three questions to help me figure out a strategy of how to get this better, right? Coaching it to coach you. So you now have this co-pilot of being able to be there every step of the way to kind of illuminate the area for you. And, a good entrepreneur knows when to hire people to put them into positions that, they're not good at. Accounting is an easy one, right? But you can at least have an understanding of how all that works so that as you raise your awareness of running a business, you know all the pieces and how they all fit together for a well-oiled machine. And never before have we had this like tool that is there to walk you through every baby step along the way, as well as these new powerful models that are out there that can give you huge, strategy. So you have a whole 12-month plan of how to hit your goals.
I want to go over and thank you because what you just said is brilliant. Don't use AI to do everything. You're going to have to hire. It's a business. You have to have expenses. So thank you for saying that. I think some people come in AI, oh, it's going to solve all my problems. It doesn't. It's a tool. Like if you need a hammer and don't have a screwdriver, we can go find a screwdriver. And that's all AI is. You got to do all the work or find people to do the work for you. Coming to the end here, but I'm excited to ask you. I'm very excited to ask this question. I've been waiting for this show. What's one thing in the future that you see? I know it's changing fast, but there's something big coming in the near future that's going to change our lives with AI.
Well, there's a lot coming down the line, and I'm happy kind of where we're at. If we could just sit with what technology we now have for a good 5 years, I think all of us would be better off. This stuff is advancing so quickly that next year we're going to have these agents that are going to be going out onto the internet. And so people are going to be managing agents. After that is robotics, and these AI, large language models are going to be inside of these robotics. And so there's going to be literal humanoid robots walking around, cleaning people's houses and stuff. And where we go from there is so difficult to understand because of how fast we're moving, that if I could hit the brakes for everybody and just be like, all right, the whole world, we're just sticking to what we got right now. And I think everybody would be better off with that because of the, great power and potential that we're already sitting with.
Well, the audience, that was a selfish question because I wanted to know. In case somebody out there wanted to know, it was a great answer because you're right. We're very happy where we're at. And we see robotics, Elon Musk and all those people doing cool things. Hopefully they'll be cool. And then like anything, the internet, when it starts good and bad, AI, there's good and bad. Just know that and be prepared for that. Let's end with a fun question. I want to get to know you a little deeper. So I've reserved a table in a restaurant for you. You're going to sit in one of the chairs. You have 3 empty chairs. Who would you invite, whether they're dead or alive? And what food does Joshua order for the table?
Well, I live out in the country, so it's going to be a farm to table, nice rustic meal. And I love to have Einstein and Caesar. And let's toss in George Washington. Let's see how they all communicate with each other. And there's going to be some conversations about leadership of how to actually, lead a good country.
Eclectic, that's the right word. Group. I mean, I bring 5th chair. I have to hear, but these guys can just like Einstein and AI. I'd love to get his take on it. That's a really cool table. Thank you for sharing. You're brilliant, Joshua. And I've told you that. I love what you're doing. You bring humanoids, humanization to AI, which is needed big time. People listening are probably going, I got to connect with Joshua. How can they do that?
Yeah, you can go to my website, joshuahale.io, joshuahale.io. That's kind of where all my projects I got going on. I help people with mutual aid groups. I help people with their businesses. And I'm creating this big program right now called Beyond the Matrix that is kind of a self-discovery and can help with your purpose and finding the right career. all leveraging AI. So taking the long path of 15 years it took me to, get to where I am, self-development. I hope to do that in 90 days with you.
It's beautiful. Audience, reach out to him. Thank you again, Joshua. Your audience, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And here's why. If you're probably hearing about AI, if you haven't heard about AI, you're probably out in the woods. Not where Joshua is, but farther in the woods. You don't even have internet. This is a place to go. And if you got people that are frustrated with AI, know they need to use it, well, send this link to them. What did Joshua do? He just went over nice cliff notes, 30,000 foot view of how powerful this could be if done right. And that's where Joshua comes in, is helping you doing it right. He helped me, and I know he can help many of you others. So go ahead and share these gifts, because podcasts are really gifts. When you subscribe, you get the link. And if it's something that resonates, not just my podcast, but anybody else's. John, I was just telling Joshua, he's on John Golden's podcast. Shout out to John. And maybe you heard something there, it's different, but just treat these as gifts where you can impact and make a change in somebody. And it's powerful. With that being said, me and Joshua want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. We'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.